Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I'm here with Padraig Costello, and we're going to talk about the Metaverse today. And we're actually going to do some demos and stuff. So I'm hoping there's going to be some really cool stuff. It's up Padraig's sleeve, so I'm waiting for him. Padraig, where can people find you apart from in Ireland?
Yeah, well, it's my island. That's my Braveheart joke. But yeah, so blockmuse.io. Most people know me by Blockmuse, the muse of the blockchain. So you can go to blockmuse.io. You can Google Blockmuse, and I take up most of the pages there. Primarily, it's Twitter. You'll find me there, but very, very easy. Blockmuse.io.
Would you say that Twitter is your main platform?
Yes, I would absolutely say I've really come into Twitter through NFT, and NFT
Right.
found me as an investor in blockchain technologies, as a former corporate.
Because you got involved in crypto back in 2016, didn't you?
2016, yeah. I fixed my first computer when I was 10. And from then, it was always just exploring, getting to the roots of it. And so technology is my first love, but how do you relate to that, and how do you express it, and how can you communicate with others in that aspect has been sort of my key. Not that I'm the guru in technology, far from it, but the ability to relate and interrelate was sort of the backbone of that. And that's what brings me into this sort of social technology, which is a fascinating aspect now.
So I'm gonna tell people the answer, and then I want to go back to the question.
Right.
So the answer is, and I've told so many people this, and they go, "What on earth does that all mean?" So you have bought land in the metaverse and built 2 art galleries where you're hanging NFTs.
Yes, correct.
Right. So, and you've got 2 art galleries.
I do, yes. Now, I do apologize in advance. I like puns, right? So I'm sorry.
You're
Please.
from Ireland.
I am, and we love verbal jousting. It's part of our DNA, and so yeah. So I have 2 galleries.
Yeah.
The first one is sort of my personal one, or the one that I like my collection in, or different aspects, which is the Block Muse CM, Block Muse SEM. I decided not to bring my soundboard on. I would have had that for you, Tim. But
yeah,
that's a bit
you've got those buttons in front of you.
Yes.
You should have one as a button with a.
I have. I do it on my Shilling Heart Not Art series, where we hang out with on a Saturday night, where we hang out with artists, and I have it all.
You do just to promote that. You do a show on Twitter Spaces, which is called
Shilling Heart Not Art. In the NFT world, the digital art world, there is a lot of buy my art, sell my art, promote my art. You've got 10 seconds to sell. And a lot of that. I'm a sort of a guy who says, see a gap and fill it. So when you see that gap, one of the gaps I saw was what I call the first half of the book. So you buy an art piece. Do you know the artist? Quite often, no. Have I bought art that I didn't know the artist? Yeah. But imagine for a moment that you could have the opportunity, sitting in front of the Mona Lisa, to listen to an interview with Leonardo da Vinci. How cool would that be? And what would it do to the art? So one of the things I do is I want to know, you're not allowed to shill your art. You want to shill your heart. So I get to know artists. And you know what? I've collected a lot of them. I love that. Now I can understand art a bit more by knowing the artist. And that's the whole theme behind it.
Perfect. You know? Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. So crypto, NFTs, Metaverse, what is it?
Okay. Well, let's start with what we're engaging with here. I'm a roots guy, right? So we started in technology with what we would call Web 1.0, right? You had pictures, you had a bit of text, Then you had 2.0, which it was considered that like a two-way system.
Which is kind of what we got at the moment, which is kind of what most of the internet is at the moment, isn't it?
Pretty much. So yeah, it's the two-way direction, the capturing of data, the selling of data. It's a both-way system with the extra bells and whistles of video and all of that. Now, where we are heading is towards what we call Web 3.0. You can go Google it as much as you like. We haven't even defined it. We are still very, very early. What's Web 3.0? Well, it's Amazon, AI technology, lots of stuff. It's, it's the gathering of data in a decentralized. The data we have right now is centralized data capture. Well, what we're looking at in Web 3.0 is the potential for decentralized, or DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. Mouthful, I know, but where your data is not managed by a central company or group. And so we're at the frontier of a lot of what's happening in that. And that's what Web 3.0 is. And the bit that I'm particularly in right now, which is the Metaverse. Now, roots again, meta means beyond. So it's beyond the natural verse, the universe that we inhabit, the analog world, as sometimes I like to call it, versus the digital. So how do you jump into that? How do you interact? What technologies are there? And who leads? Does technology lead, or do we lead in leveraging the technology? And so I find this whole experience amazing to me. When I was younger, I fixed my first computer when I was 10. I worked in Intel for a few years. I wanted to see how they made it. But what happens inside a PC can only be fascinating for so many years. And so when technology like this came along, it lit me up, and I've been immersed in it and, investigating it, but so much so seeing how you can use it. And that's what leads us into this space, which is the metaverse and buying NFT digital art and building it in a universe that is only online.
It amazes me. So what's the difference between the metaverse and Second Life then?
Okay, so in it's probably going to be around your interaction levels, right?
Right.
For example, there's very popular platforms. I'm not a maxi when it comes to where I bought land or any of that. I did buy my land in SomniumSpace, and there are more popular ones, which is like the 2D, the gaming, the Second Life, all of this experience. The reason why I went for it is because it's cutting edge on virtual reality. You have 2D interactives where, we have pop stars doing shows on these other metaverses. But the real reason, when people said, well, which of the two did you get? I says, well, no, it's actually the one that the Tesla suit for haptic feedback is involved in. They were like going, oh, because
so anybody who's watching this can go to SomniumSpace.com, can't they, and actually see what you're talking about?
They can see the company and what it's about. But if you actually
go there's a demo on there, I know that
or you can go to blockmuse.io and you can click on one of my galleries, the Block Museum, or the Bloctagon, which is an 8-sided museum as well, and you can see it. And if you want, I can cut here live to.
Yeah, sure, it'd be brilliant. Yes.
So here I am. This is me right now standing in the Bloctagon, right? So recently we just had, I use it as a facility for hosting artworks. So here you can see me standing on a glass stand in a podium. Now, in a 2D environment, when you look at this on the web, Tim, there's not much to it. It's, we've seen stuff like this. Now, if you put that on, if you do this and you imagine that you're wearing VR goggles, which I do, the butterflies that go into your stomach as you are standing on this podium that I built, and you're looking at all these artworks from
around. And they're all NFTs, aren't they?
They're all NFTs, digital NFTs. Now I'm going to just click. I can click down here and I can walk around. And let me just come out a little bit here outside the front of the Bloctagon. So if I just walk out here, I'm just going to click, and you can see there it is. Hope for Haiti. We hosted there a few weeks back. Hope for Haiti. I had the CEO on a special in the Shilling Heart Not Art, where these artworks are up for sale. And you can actually click on the artwork and it will bring you into it. and show you. I actually bought this one.
Nice.
So it's and the money went to people in Haiti who are suffering from an earthquake, and it's real impact. So and you know what, you make a sale. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this, is that if you make a sale in NFT, that really has an impact in people in third world countries who have a direct access to a market where, in our Western culture, I can sort of, as an artist myself, I do poetry, but, I can not make a sale and go, oh, okay. But, that's food on a table for a lot of
Yes.
people. And so, people are wrestling even with the concept of what an NFT is. Think of it like a picture, a JPEG, and it's uploaded, but it's digitally certified and stamped. And that's the beauty of it. So yeah, to experience it like that, if you have a VR headset, you can install a client. So we just watched it there in 2D in a web version, right? Basic. But to really get immersed and see these paintings towering above you in the Bloctagon, and the color and the vibrancy coming out, you can walk down the road outside the Bloctagon, and I have another block down the road, the Block Museum, and you can go across and you can bump into people and you can talk to people. My first time when I was building all alone in SomniumSpace, I was trying to get into a teleporter and go down the road to another place, and then I heard this gentleman in the background going, and his English was as good as my French, but we talked, and I got to bring him over to the Bloctagon and show him around, and I took a selfie inside in the metaverse of me and him standing there sharing and talking art as best we could. Wonderful.
Amazing. That's amazing.
And I'm hoping that's not all, Tim. I'm hoping, and this is where I love the path of where we're going. I'm hoping a friend of mine who's actually an Oscar-winning animator who designed a Nike shoe. I'm hoping to have a interview with her inside in the metaverse with me donning on my avatar, which is like a gold alien with a rose in the mouth.
If you go to Block Muse on Twitter, you'll see what that looks like.
There, yeah, you'll see my avatar is on the backdrop there. But yeah, and so I'm hoping to just push the envelope and see how that sort of interaction works as well.
So when you talk about is it the Heptic Suit? That's you've actually got sensors, haven't you, in your room?
What I'm doing now, the Haptic Suits, where you get that feedback where you could actually touch. I'm nowhere near that yet, because they're extremely costly technology. But within scope for a lot of us is the actual sensors. So what you can do is you can have a hand around your waist, and so as I move my hand, the photo, if you go to see the photo of me on Twitter of my gold avatar, I have my fingers up like that, and what I've done is I've taken my hands off the controller, and the fingers popped up in the air. So that's a selfie of me in front of my Bloctagon in the metaverse that you will see. So,
and you've got a set of VR goggles, haven't you?
Just right here, you can see. Yeah, so there's I have sitting up in the background here, I have my VR headset, and so yeah, you can put on your headset. Now, what I do is as you develop, you can sort of make your headsets bespoke. So I've sort of my one is a HTC, but I have bespoke controllers to give you better feedback and touch and control. So you can just there's a lot of research you can do there and meet your budget. So you can go very basic entry, or you can try and develop. And again, before you jump in, if you're a gamer, you should go with X. If you're just looking to experience, you don't need to go too high end. So sort of have that in mind if you are thinking of jumping in. And if you are willing to wait, about mid this year, you're going to see a lot of the higher end technology become available to the market. So mid to end of within next year, probably 22, you're going to see the higher end headsets become more available to in the mainstream. So don't jump until mid to end next year if you're really budgeting and waiting to say no, I'm called out.
So that's mid 2022.
Mid 2022, yeah. That technology is starting to develop even more.
You probably better pick up some cheap ones on eBay afterwards when everyone's jumped in.
Yeah, bingo. So yeah, so do it, and I'm always for using the best and trying to get the most out of what you can do with that. So yeah.
So have you got can you do a press the button and show a screen of you with you've got a video camera, haven't you?
Yeah.
Behind.
Well, what I have is, well, no, what I was going to do is I was hoping that I would have those today for you, but I was going to do is a split with it, but we're not going to run that today because I wanted to have those sensors. They are so popular that they haven't even arrived. I have them ordered for weeks, and so it would be lovely to have a nice little split screen for you where we show a side by side, and maybe that'll be when I do get them. We can have a.
We'll do it. We'll have another chat, absolutely, because this is just going to evolve, isn't it?
It so is. It so is. And yeah, and so with that you can achieve so much, and the technology that is coming down the line with this is making it more readily available, where you're still at sort of, being a bit nerdy and having to have some of the tech behind you and jumping around a few pieces, but it's getting easier, much easier.
So where do you see this going? What's your vision of where it's going to go?
Yeah,
because I mean, your background is in computing, so you have a head start on people because you've got a kind of a natural comfort zone in tech. But where do you see this going from? There's been all these announcements for Facebook. What are you going to do? Where do you see it going?
Well, you see, they're going around that, and so the metaverse is a key part, right? So the technology is a key part, but what you have to look at here is the social aspect. What's driving socially, right? So the biggest driver in tech terms where we're going is obviously gaming, right? So gaming is pushing a lot of it. Mining on the blockchain, the Bitcoin's pushing the technology for the video graphics cards and all of that too. But really, it's where people can get together. So we are right now in a, and this is your space, the social audio, which I've had the pleasure of jumping into now. I as an NFT sort of in the digital art world, I always say you need to branch out. And I branched out into social audio and came across yourself and other people in that space.
Because you spend a lot of time on Twitter Spaces, don't you? Is your audio platform of choice?
I do. And so to be able to, I stream that now. So when I do my Shilling Heart Not Art, the primary hook is on the Twitter space, which is the ground roots of this movement in digital art. But then I broadcast it out via Restream. I broadcast it to YouTube, Twitch, so about 5 platforms, and I broadcast it live on Twitter at the same time. And so with that, it's bringing that interaction and the social aspect is what's driving it. So there's a lot of people now engaging in social audio on multiple platforms, but Twitter is really well poised to take it to the next level. And they're not quite there. They're still in sort of beta, so they're testing. When Twitter pushed that marketing button, a lot of more people are going to come flooding into that, and that's going to be a big driver. So your interaction and what I didn't mention here either is your augmented reality. So you've got virtual reality, which is like this headset I have here in the background, but that's the full immersion. Where the technology is bringing us is augmented reality. So you and I right now, Tim, we're wearing glasses. What's going to happen very easily is having that augmented experience, be it a little pop-up, be it a Twitter feed, be it, even as we are interacting right now, we have in the background these text and people can ask questions and interact. That's going to be on your glasses. That's going to be a lot more. When I started in my multi-streaming platform, I had digital sliders and everything, and I was trying to juggle on these live streams. Now I have one big media control panel, and I can just interact on the screen with the people. And so it's how do you minimalize this technology and make it accessible? It starts with the phone and it breaks out from there. So you're going to see the augmented reality play a lot more in the future of this technology, and then how we sort of use and interact. The phone has its limits. It's a small device, and so how do we interact, and how seamless is that interaction? In the 90s, I used to I used to work in community, teaching old people how to use computers, and the first thing that they have is fear fear that you might break something. So what I did was I got them taking a PC apart and showing them the components. And you know what? It broke down the fear. They started bashing buttons, and it unlocked. And so quite often success in technology is path of least resistance.
Yeah.
How can you facilitate it and break down that fear? And so that's where that's why I play with a lot of these technologies. It's not so much to go all nerdy and say how it is, but I want to see how seamless I can make it, how much I can make these little transitions and simple buttons. I have a 32 button deck here where I can push a button, and I'm programming these buttons to make it so easy so I can interact on the screen with people and not be all distracted with technology.
And you see the future of social media ultimately going this way, don't you?
I so do, because it's by far, when you have early adopters, and then you see there's these routines. We can see them in the history of technology, how this happens, and I think it's several billion, which is a tiny portion of Facebook's Meta program. They've invested several billion in this, and only, which is a tiny portion, into this. And so when you see big players like that catching up and saying, "Okay, we're jumping in, we're all over this one," then you know what's coming. You know what's coming. So that's going to push the masses and the mainstream.
So what do you think Facebook are going to create with their Meta and their Metaverse?
Well,
how is Facebook going to change?
Well, Facebook is well positioned, because we've seen them in their purchases of Instagram, WhatsApp. They see and they take that and they corner it, right? So when everybody knew, it was like one of those, Facebook and Instagram, check, because they're social media. But when they went and they bought the VR Oculus Rift company, a lot of people are like, what? Wait, that was weird, because it was a gaming thing. It was a big jump, but they knew what they were doing. And so what we have to do is see our heads go down that line, because they saw it very early, and they've been doing a lot of development in this side of it, which is the new feedback hit from your on your phone, now to be the hit from your augmented reality on your glasses, to the interaction on that. And so their main product, we offer our data. They exchange all of these free products, the development, the research, and everything for your data, and that's the big seller. So they are heading down that and interacting and facilitating it. So instead of your it was bespoke, what we're used to with Facebook and all of these little apps and little isolated apps. So you would buy, for example, a token, or you tokenize within a game, but it wouldn't go outside of that. It wouldn't interact with the wider ecosystem. So as you got older, you had all this credit locked inside in a mini ecosystem, but it didn't translate. Where we're going now is, and I see it like this, is that it's going to be this sort of seamless interaction. This is where the blockchain technology, the cryptos, where you can actually you'll interact with something, but it'll be a crypto base. Now, if Facebook are going to achieve their crypto base, or whoever or whatever, but it'll make it seamless and transactable and go across. That's why, we have people who are maxis in one camp or the other, but where I see it is the interaction. These all will come together eventually, and it'll be interoperable. So I used to play that maxi card, but I think there's a lot of interoperability in the future of that.
Fascinating. I was looking for some research that I saw earlier today, which is, and I'm guessing, it's like what the wearables market will be like in, I think it was 2025 or 2028, and it's just billions.
Yep.
Because there's going to be VR goggles, as you said. We'll have augmented reality glasses. Ray-Ban's already got. We had Google Glass many years ago, but Ray-Bans have released something, so it's all going to come.
Yeah, it is, and not only that, but I have the gold avatar you'll see on my Twitter is my copyright. That was a 10,000 project, our digital collectible, as we call it, project, where when you purchased the avatar, you got a digital file that you can upload into the metaverse, and part of that is the full copyright. So I have branded on that full copyrighted character, but that's not all. The art community are designing wearables for your avatars. And so there's a lot, so there's so much, there's so much that's going to happen, and people will purchase. We all know about in-game purchases for kids and adults alike who love their gaming, but this in-game purchasing for your persona in this metaverse. If anybody's interested, you can go back on my Shilling Heart Not Art, which is on blockmuse.io, and you'll see the Haiti special, the YouTube channel there. You'll see the Haiti special. So what I did is I warmed up the room, and I says, let's all gather in the metaverse and we'll open up the show. And some people had donned on all of these wonderful rig outs and gear, and it was all waving, and it was just a lovely intro. And now that's only the 2D level. But what I'm really looking forward to is when we all have the headsets, we all have the motion sensors. I'm waiting to get the actual motion sensor that'll sit in front of my headset and capture my mouth movements, so that you will walk in and you will be immersed, and not only staring at a screen, but you will be looking all around you. And I will have poetry nights. I want to hang out with my fellow poets and have poetry nights in the metaverse, in whatever character, come one, come all, whatever you want to look like or wear, in this beautifully diverse environment, spitting poetry. And so, you have to have a goal. These are my goals, and this is what I can do. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time, I always say.
Padraig, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for the walk through what the metaverse is and the demonstration and everything. I mean, it's a ever evolving space, and it's great to just get where we are today and where you see the future is. Thank you so much for that. Remind people where they can get hold of you.
So just go to blockmuse.io, or you can find me on Twitter as Blockmuse, or you can Google Blockmuse, and I come up fairly quickly there as well.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight today. It's been fascinating. Thank you.
As always.
I'll see you in the metaverse.
See you in the metaverse. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much.